Well, we're Tom and Wendy Menacher, and we have just recently completed our home with CMB Construction, and we moved in November. And we absolutely love our home. It's been just a tremendous process for us in a very positive way, and we couldn't be happier with the results. I asked Wendy this morning, what was kind of your concern when you first started this process? And she said, translating her vision for all of the customization to something that would be what she wanted. And she said the CMB team really did that for her.
And they were diligent about checking with me and Tom. I mean, one time he was up here doing something and I wasn't with him. I think I got more calls from him than I had in a month in one day, because one of the, Heidi or Glenn or Cody or whatever, they just like, I'm not sure about this, better check with Wendy. And it was funny.
Yeah.
They wanted to please me. They wanted to please both of us. And they weren't going to do something and give them credit that they would have to undo. And so we always were problem solving. They were good at problem solving. We didn't want to undo anything or have it not be something that we wanted. And it was amazing, And I remember several times coming up, oh, this looks so much better in person. I would show them a picture of something. I want this, but I don't want this. And then I don't know how, for the example, our wall, how I want this look, but how, numbers, spacing, all that. That's all the beautiful craftsmanship and skill of the workers.
One of my concerns when we started this whole process was how was it going to work with us living 200 miles away. And some people suggested you should get an apartment, you should be there, on site, all of the time, and we didn't do that. What we did instead was following CMB's lead and just this level of communication that they had with us. Started first, we had conference calls every 2 weeks during the construction process, so they could tell us, what the status was of certain things, and then they could say to us, we need you to make selections on various things, countertops, cabinets, whatever that might be. And so as we found during the process, they would say, CMB would tell us, now is a good time for you to come up. You can if you want. It's not necessary, but if you want to see how things are doing, please come up. And so we just kind of got into this rhythm of maybe coming once every 6 weeks or so. And as it turned out, that was enough. And then when it got closer to some really big decisions, we would spend the night. And so we would be out here for, a full day, and then we'd stay in Traverse City. And so it wasn't as hard for us to go back and forth. But the thought of thinking about how we were going to manage that and whether we were going to have to get an apartment, now it's like, oh, well, we didn't need to think about any of that. That didn't have to be that way, but just the way it worked. And the construction process was a little over a year, and so we had a lot of opportunities to come. And when it was critical, Colin and his team said, yeah, we really need you here for this or that. And it was just easier for us to adjust our schedule.
And vice versa. I say, I want to be here when they install the fireplace.
Yeah.
I want certain rock. I want certain thing. And, and they worked very well with us. Hey, this is when it's going to be, and gave us heads up. And the communication was awesome. Yeah. It was just awesome.
Well, we had actually another conference call every month, and we went over the budget and what money had been spent. The level of detail that was provided to us was excellent. I mean, every dollar was accounted for, so we could see, what had been paid for, what the stage of that part of the construction was. And so we had, every single month, we were on the phone. That was in addition to the call that we had with the construction team. So every month we had basically 3 conference calls, and we were able to do that. Sometimes we did it on Zoom, and sometimes we didn't. Didn't really matter. But that ability to communicate was really important to us, and I was able to get very comfortable with all of the spend that was going on from beginning to end, and that's quite an accomplishment, that to be able to do that, again, 200 miles away. Yeah, we can't begin to describe to you how excited it would be when we get an email with photos. It's like, oh my God, we got photos.
We got pictures.
Whether it was the hole being dug, or the foundation, or framing, or the roof is on, or the siding is up. Just all those various stages. Every time we got photos, it was really exciting just to open it up and see, oh my gosh, now I can see how that's going to look.
Well, Colin's famous line that I will always remember: this is like training for a marathon. It takes stuff. And that's exactly right. You don't go out tomorrow and run a marathon.
Yeah.
And you don't build a home in a day.
No.
And when we would want something, or I wasn't sure what I wanted, they added value. They would come between Colin and his team. Somebody on the team would offer a suggestion, and like, I don't know, what do we do here? And because they read me, they read him, and they would go, oh, Tom wouldn't want that, Wendy wouldn't want that, or yeah, they would like this. And they were usually spot on.
Yeah, it's really amazing when you think about all of the details that go into building a house. From the plans to just all of the phases of construction. And I have to say, it was so smooth for us through all of that process. And I can't remember a period where we felt any level of stress whatsoever during the process. And I don't know if a lot of people can say that, because I think generally building a home can be pretty stressful. And again, we weren't even close by.
Yep.
Well, we really look forward coming on site with both Colin, Heidi, and having Glenn here, or Dave, depending on who is here, as the site manager.
They knew us.
To be able to interact with them as certain things were getting done. And that kind of took off after, I would say probably after everything was drywalled. Then it started to take shape a little bit for us.
Well, that's where the character came in.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's where all the character came in. It's not just drywall.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what Colin, referred to. He said starting to have some bones to the home. Yeah, there were a couple of little small changes that the team made to our floor plan, and all of them were really good changes, and something you couldn't necessarily see on the blueprint. But when they would look at it, they say, we could make a slight adjustment here. For instance, they made our entry ceiling higher. They changed this whole side of the house with the batten board. And those are just little changes that they made that added just a ton of character to the home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We absolutely loved working with them, and their craftsmanship, their communication, their skills. Everybody listened to us and never made us feel like this wasn't our home. All of them would say, this is your home. Yeah. We want you happy.
Yeah.
And they really did. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when people ask you about a building process, they say, oh, you must have had a lot of problems, or you must have had a lot of issues. And we talked about that this morning. Like, we really couldn't come up with any of those issues or problems. And that's quite a statement for CMB and their team, that we can say that we didn't have any problems, we didn't have any issues, and the home was completed pretty much according to what the time frame was that was established when we started the construction. So,
Of course, we would always say, "What are you?"
yeah, we'd like to make it sooner, but who wouldn't, you know? But no, the process was exactly what they said when they first dug the foundation, and it turned out to be exactly what they promised it would be. So, and I think that's a big part of it. That I don't know if you want necessarily a company to just tell you whatever you want to hear. I think it's much better to tell you what's going to happen, and then deliver on that, versus
make promises that they can't, then aren't kept, or hopes are up by.
Yeah, that they can't keep. So,
yeah.
maybe to kind of summarize the process for us, we felt during this complete period of time that CMB and their team had the highest integrity that you could ask for any company to be doing business with. And that's essentially what you are when you're the customer. You're doing business with that construction company, and it's going to be for a fairly extensive period of time. So you hope that you'll have a company like CMB with high integrity, and you combine that with the communication that they had with us throughout the process, and the skill level of all of the construction team and their expertise. It proved to be a heck of a package for us of just tremendous value, and an experience that, you know, we'll remember for our lifetime, and how good it was.